Good morning, boys and girls. It's great to be with you again. How many of you went home and told somebody about what you learned yesterday? I hope you not only enjoyed it, but remembered to share with others and to praise God for His wonderful works, especially for those amazing praying mantises. Do you remember where we find the three angels' messages? That's right, in the book of Revelation, right there in the last book of the Bible. And what does the first angel tell us to do? Let's look at it again. This is kind of my version of it in the book. Remember, He made the earth and outer space. Now go and tell in every place. So the first angel not only tells us that God made the world, but he tells us to go out and share it with everybody. So don't forget to worship God on the Sabbath, enjoy His beautiful nature, and share the good news that God created the world with everybody. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at a very persistent little creature. Now, does anybody know what I mean when I say persistent? If you're persistent, you don't what? You don't give up. You just keep trying one way, and if that doesn't work, you keep trying another way. You keep at things until you get it all worked out. Can you think of any of God's creatures that you would call persistent? I'm actually going to talk about two creatures today, and they're very different kinds of creatures, but they both have that same trait of character. They do not give up. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about a verse I learned when I was younger, and I'm going to see if you can say it with me. It's kind of an interesting verse, and there might be one word in it that some of you don't quite know. So we have to look at that word a little bit before we look at the verse. Okay? Well, let's read the verse. Let's read the verse and let's see if we can figure it out. Okay? Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Now, what do you suppose a sluggard is? I wish I could be there with you and hear your responses. Sometimes when I ask boys and girls, they think it's a snail or something slimy. But that's not what it means. When it says, go to the ant, you sluggard, it means you lazy person. A sluggard is a lazy person. And so the Bible is telling us, if you don't like to get work done, and if you're just lazing around, go take a look at an ant. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Look, you person who doesn't like to try hard, take a look at how hard an ant works. It means whenever you feel sluggish and slow, I don't want to help anymore, I don't want to try anymore at school, then look at how hard an ant works. Do you think an ant works very hard? You know something? An ant working as a team with other ants could move a whole mountain. That's just by moving one grain of dirt at a time, because ants believe in teamwork, working together. And did you know that there's so many ants in the world that if you put the weight of all the ants in the world together, it would equal the weight of all the people in the world? That's a lot of ants, right? An ant is the millionth size of a person. So that's a lot of ants. They're everywhere. But I want to tell you now about another creature that I think also is very, very persistent. This guy never gives up. Can you guess what it is? I think the Bible could also say, go to the what, O sluggard? Consider her ways and be wise. Go to the squirrel. Let me tell you about an experience I had with a very persistent squirrel. It all started out when I went to visit some friends, and they had this beautiful little bird feeder, and they would sit and eat their breakfast and watch the most beautiful birds, and I thought, oh, this is so exciting, I want to do it too. So I went to the store and I looked around and I got the perfect little bird feeder. I just thought it was so beautiful. I want to show it to you now. Isn't this cute? See? It's like a house, a little house. And I thought, oh, it'd be so cool. And you put the bird feed in the top of the chimney. And so who do you think was my first visitor when I put my bird feeder up? You got it. It was a squirrel. And I said, but I wanted to see birds. So my friends that had the bird feeder said, well, maybe you can grease the pole that it's on. They said, we've heard that if you make the pole slippery, the squirrel won't be able to climb up the pole, because I have this on the top of a pole. And they said, he'll just fall off. So I put this really slippery stuff on the pole, and you know what happened? The squirrel still figured out how to get into the bird feeder. And then I was trying to go out there and figure it out, and I grabbed the pole and they got all stuck with all this slippery stuff, and bird seed was stuck to my hands, and that didn't work very well. So I went back to my friends and they said, well, try to move it away from the trees. So I moved it away from the trees, and you know what that squirrel did? He jumped onto my window. Here he is. You can ask me anything about the underbelly of a squirrel and I can tell you. There were squirrels on my window all the time. They'd jump onto the window, then they'd jump over to the bird feeder, and you guessed it, eat all the bird food. Well, that wasn't good. So I just kept thinking, what can I do? Well, by this time, the squirrel had eaten all the food, so I had to take down the bird feeder to wash the bird feeder and put it up again. And guess what I discovered? The squirrel had chewed the top and then took the cover and ran away with it. I don't know if you can see the top of this, but it's all chewed off. So that didn't make me very happy. Well, by now, I thought, oh, what am I gonna do? I gotta put up a bird feeder that's all chewed up, and it's just gonna be a squirrel feeder. So I went for a walk that night, and there were some neighbors of mine. And those neighbors are known in the whole neighborhood for being the king and queen of birds. They know everything about birds. They have bird vests, they have bird binoculars, they have bird books, they have these little things on their watches that make all the sounds that birds make. If there's a bird convention, they're there. So I thought, okay, I'm walking with the right people tonight. And I told them, I'm kind of discouraged. I've tried to get a bird feeder going and squirrels are taking the whole thing over. So they said, in the state of Florida, remember they know everything about birds, in the state of Florida, if you have a bird feeder, it must be 4 feet from the nearest structure because squirrels can jump. Well, I took a look at where I wanted to put my bird feeder outside my window so I could see it. There's a tree here, here's my house, and I couldn't get it 4 feet from the nearest structure. So they said, that's not a problem. You can go online and get a squirrel-proof bird feeder. I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I was so excited. I went online and I was like, oh, I don't want to pay that much for it. That's going to take up all my spending money. But I thought, well, it's worth it. I get to see God's beautiful creatures, and so I'm going to try it. So I ordered my squirrel-proof bird feeder. And I put it up, and I'm going to show you a little movie of what happened with my squirrel-proof bird feeder. So you ready? You guys want to watch with me? Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, so here's my special bird feeder, and if you look at it, it's 2 baskets. One basket is inside the other basket, so that when a little bird lands on, do you see the little perches there? The little perches where the bird lands? And he's so light that he doesn't pull the outside basket down. You see the perch there? So he's so light when he lands on it that those squares in those little baskets are lined up perfectly and he can eat. But if a squirrel lands on it, he's so heavy that he's going to pull down that basket and it will block it. Oh, yay! Yay! Here's my first bird. This is in the chickadee family. This is called the tufted titmouse. And oh, here's another one. Look, aren't they pretty? They're really interesting little birds. They move very quickly. They like to get their food and eat really quickly. And oh, I tell you, I was so happy. Oh, he's flying away. I wonder why he's flying away. But I was like, yay, I can finally look at birds after waiting. Look at this guy. I'd like to have him eat out of my hand, wouldn't you? He's just so cute. But yeah, so I was so happy that I spent the money and I got my squirrel-proof bird feeder, and these birds could just enjoy their food, and I could enjoy looking at them, and everything was working out really well. So do you think I solved my problem, boys and girls? Do you think I was able to keep that pesky squirrel away? And even if he comes, it's not going to work for him. He won't be able to get any of the food from inside that bird feeder, will he? What do you think? Wow, you can see really close up here. Hey, wait a minute. Who's that on the pole? Oh no, but we don't have to worry about him, do we? Hey, look at him now. You see his paws? He's so heavy that when his paws go on that perch, it closes up the basket. He's saying, hey, wait a minute. How did the birds get food out of here? I don't understand. How did the birds get in there? Did they go in this way? I can't seem to get any food, but the bird was. Ha ha, we tricked that squirrel, didn't we? We tricked him. We tricked him. He can't get anything out of there. He's saying, that's not fair. How did they do it? Good. He's just given up, and he says, I guess I'll just go sit on the ground and eat a little bit of food because that's all I get is whatever's left over. So I was so happy I didn't have to worry about this persistent guy because there was no way he could get into that basket. No way. Oh, look at this. So now I got to enjoy this beautiful red bird. Do you know what he is? He's a cardinal. He's a cardinal. Isn't he a pretty bird? So I was just so happy that finally I could watch the birds and didn't have to worry about that pesky squirrel. I know he's persistent, so I hope he doesn't come back. Oh, I wonder why he's flying away now. Why do you think that cardinal just flew away? That's interesting. Well, let's see if I have any more birds. Hey, do you see a little nose? Who's that? Who? What is he doing? He is so persistent. He says, if they got in there, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. I wonder if it's at the top. Look, his foot is on the perch, so he's closing the baskets. Whenever he goes anywhere near those perches, he just closes the baskets. He's saying, how can I get in here? How can I get in here? Oh, yay, he gave up. Do you think that he's going to try again? He's pretty persistent, isn't he? Oh, look. Can you tell what kind of a bird this is? Yeah, this is just like the red cardinal. You can see the size of his head and the shape of his head. But this is the female. Isn't it funny that in the world of nature, the males are the flashy ones? So the bright red cardinal is the male, and this is the female. Oh, look at that. You can even see the seed in her mouth, and she's just chewing away. Oh, and here's back one of our other little ones that we saw at the beginning. Those little guys are just... Look at how light they are. You see their little feet on the perch there. I wonder why he flew away. Do you have any idea why he might have flown away? Oh no, not him again. He just jumped out of nowhere, didn't he? He says there's got to be a way to get inside. Persistent. He's just so persistent. He's checking. He didn't say, I give up. I didn't get it the first time. He said, if those birds are getting in here, there's got to be a way I can get in here. But it is squirrel proof, so we don't have to worry, do we? He can't figure it out. He's very persistent, but look, he's looking up, he's looking down. He says, where's the opening? Oh, I guess he's going to go back down to the ground and eat some of the seeds down there. Hey, wait a minute. Look what he's doing. He's keeping his feet on the pole. He's almost sliding down the pole and reaching through so he can actually start to get some of the feet. This guy is not only persistent, he's smart. He's figuring it out. Oh my goodness. Look at him now. Look at him now. He's going to have to take his paw. His paws are off of the perch. He figured out that when he got his paw off the perch, he opened that thing up and he actually got some food. Now where's he going? Is he going to the top of that pole? I think he probably feels like, now that I got the bird seed, I'm going to eat it in a room with a view, like he's in a fancy restaurant on top of the pole. He figured it out. You know what, boys and girls? After that, I said, I give up. I'm going to get some bark butter, and I'm going to put that bark butter on the fence, and that way, at least if he's going to be the one, if he's that persistent to get all the bird seed out of there, I'm going to put the bark butter on the fence, and then the birds can have that. What do you think? Hey! Who's eating the bark butter that I put on the fence? Oh, well, I don't have to worry because I put 3 of them on there. Well, guess who ate all 3 of them? Let me just see. What is he doing now? Yep, see my bark butter? He's going to grab a whole piece of it and take off. So I guess you can say the squirrel is a very persistent creature. Did you like my little movie? I hope it helps you to remember that if God created such an amazing, persistent little creature as the squirrel, he made you just as special. So whenever you're tempted to give up, maybe when you're doing your drawings, remember the squirrel. And speaking of drawings, how would you like to draw a squirrel now? Okay, repeat after me. I will not compare my work with others. I will not compare my work with others. I will have fun. We'll have fun. I will not get frustrated or give up. I will not get frustrated or give up. I can always try again later. I can always try again later. Okay, we're going to start with the ears, and I'm starting up towards the top of the paper. Make it a little fluffy looking here, so put in a few lines. And now it's time for the other ear. Now remember what we said about perspective. It's not going to be the same size as the first ear because it's behind the other ear. So you're going to notice I'm making it so it looks a little smaller. That's because it's behind the other ear, so we don't see all of it. Sometimes the brain wants to tell you, you better make them both the same size because ears are the same size. No, you got to learn to look with your eyes. Here we go. Let's make the face. This is the hardest part. Up the little nose, up, and there goes the mouth. And there we go. Now we'll color him in later and he'll look more like a squirrel, but for now, just get something with a little nose. All right, and the head, and let's come back down and around. And let's now do my very favorite part, the tail. You just have to make something bushy over here. You can make it, see how I'm going around, and then it's going to come back in. And then it's going to go back out. You really can't go wrong with this fluffy tail, however you'd like to make it, okay? Just make it nice and fluffy. And now we'll put our little line in here to define his face and his eye. Get a little eye in there, and again, it'll come together when we color it in. Now this is a hard part. I'm making a little furry here. And I'm trying to come around here, down, down. This is the hard part. Back up, and make his little hand, okay? Make his little hand down and around, all right? So it's kind of his haunches. You could call it his haunches. Now make a little line here and then come around. And how many feet do you think I'm going to make? Am I going to make a lot of feet? Am I going to see all his feet? No, we're only going to see 1 foot. 1 foot, right? Now I'm going to make his little toes. But from the angle that we're looking at him, we don't see the other one quite as well. So I'm just making the one because we're looking straight on at him. So now we have our basic shape of the squirrel. Is it perfect? No, of course not. Could I do better? Yeah, I practiced probably 5 times to get this far. So it takes a lot of practice, and I'm sure I could do a lot better. But the point is, you do your very best, and you can always try again. So you never have to worry that somebody says, that doesn't look like a squirrel. That's okay. I tried, and this is what I got so far. And now I get to do the fun part of coloring it all in. Now I'm kind of using highlighters here. You could use light crayons. And one thing I noticed about nature is that nothing is just one color. The grass is not just one color of green. A squirrel is not just one color of gray. Different colors. Now I'm making a little bit of a shadow here. Whenever you have a body and then it has like another part to it, there could be kind of a shadow. So I'm kind of putting some dark black in here, and I could put in some brown. Sometimes when I look at a squirrel, it looks like there's a little brown. Now, if somebody says, I've never seen a squirrel with a brown and gray tail, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe they haven't. But it doesn't have to be perfect or exactly like something somebody else has seen. I'm even going to throw a little red in here, kind of a reddish brown, just because I want to make it look a little interesting instead of making it all gray. Because when I see things in nature like wood, sticks, trees, animals, a lot of times I see more than one color. Might not look exactly like this. And remember with our eye, when you color in the eye, you have to leave a little bit of white. It's a little tricky for me on this whiteboard, but just leave a little bit of white there because that suggests the glint in the eye. Okay? I hope you're having fun coloring yours in. Oops, I just thought of something I forgot that I'm going to need to put in. Does anybody know what I forgot? That's right. Put something in his hand. So I'm going to make a little acorn. You can make anything. Maybe you want to make like a little strawberry. Who knows? Maybe you want to make him holding a little piece of a sandwich that somebody dropped on their picnic. I don't know, but I'm making a little acorn or something here that I want him to be holding something in his hand, because that's why I put his hand like that. Okay, he's starting to shape up a little now, isn't he? Now I'll put some more color in and add a little bit. It just gives a little dimension, I think, when you use different colors. And do you know what I mean by dimension? It makes him look a little more, I'm going to say 3D, but I don't know if everyone knows what 3D means. It makes him look like he pops out from the page. He doesn't look quite so flat if we give him some different colors. And I always try when I'm drawing and coloring to see if I can pop it a little bit from the page. And that's what you do when you're shading a little bit. Sometimes it helps give a little more shape and a little more body so it doesn't look quite so flat. So I'm kind of following my original lines with my highlighter and just going around and trying to give him a little more shape now. I just am so excited about being able to draw with you and talk about how wonderful God is, because God's our creator. Can you imagine how excited he must have been when he was designing everything for the first time? He said, oh, here's a fluffy squirrel. I bet the boys and girls are going to love looking at those. And I think I'll make the squirrel really persistent. And then maybe someday somebody will say, hey, if the squirrel is that persistent, I can be too. Don't we have a wonderful creator? He's just so amazing. I'm even going to put a little bit of a reddish orange color in here just for fun. That may make him look a little more like a chipmunk, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried. I just wanted to put some color, boys and girls, to show you that you don't have to be afraid of doing everything right and perfect. You can do it however you want, because God is the master designer and we're all made in his image, so we can design things very uniquely in our very own way. I hope you had a good time drawing this. Great job, boys and girls. Don't forget to keep the faith and to be consistent in following God's plans for your life. See you tomorrow to give God the glory as we see another of his amazing creatures.